This is definitely the favorite retreat of fishing enthusiasts. It was built right in the middle of a tranquil lake. The entire house is made of bamboo and palm leaves. Here, you can not only fish anytime you want but also conveniently take care of your meals. When you are tired, there is a hammock waiting for you, resting on the water. A quick-witted woman. In front of us is Xiao Lu. Don't be fooled by her elegant appearance with glasses. In reality, her life is wild and passionate. That is her greatest passion. Before long, she arrived at today's camping spot. The scenery here is breathtaking, with green mountains and clear waters. Chim Hot Hoa Tom is truly an ideal place for outdoor experiences, but the most urgent task is still to set up a shelter to have a safe spot amidst the dangerous nature. The chosen material is bamboo, which is easy to handle and saves energy, especially for a girl in the forest. You need to conserve energy to survive better. More importantly, she always hides a wild and crazy boldness inside. Today, she came up with a big idea and prepared a lot. That is right, she wants to build a shelter right on the surface of the lake. Of course, to do that, she needs more rope. Luckily, she has a heavy machete in her hand. With a few chops, you can get perfectly sized bamboo sticks. Then, split them from the top down to get flexible bamboo strips to replace ropes. Anyone who watches wilderness survival knows that if you do not have ropes, this is the best option. Then, Qiu Lu went to the lakeside to start setting up the camp. You could see her using the technique, tying the rope, an Asian technique to tightly bind bamboo into bundles. The frame becomes sturdy enough, and the bundled bamboo stays more stable when placed in water. After that, she uses additional horizontal bamboo pieces to secure the bundles, maintaining overall balance. Every joint is tightly fastened, even the weakest points hold strong. Because you can leverage the principle of leverage to save energy, it is important to make sure that when you look back, the frame is both sturdy and extremely durable. You can be completely confident in building the house on it. But, to have a complete camp, you still need to continue to add more dense bamboo covering the floor to make it easier for constructing the main body. Of course, each bamboo stick, all set, tie it tightly to prevent shifting, and finally cut off the excess parts. Trim the edges, and you will have a neat and visually appealing floor. It is so sturdy you can sing, dance, and not worry at all. Perhaps the area of 3 rooms and 2 halls still is not spacious enough, so Qiu Lu extended the floor on both sides, creating 2 balconies. Thus, the usable space is significantly increased. Who would not want a bigger house? Next is the main frame construction. Since the height is too tall to reach the roof, she made a simple wooden ladder. It is also convenient for picking palm leaves for roofing. Living in the forest is like that, you know. You have to be resourceful, utilizing available resources. To do the right thing is necessary to live comfortably. And palm leaves in tropical regions are the best waterproof material. Even if they fall, rain and wind will soon make them grow again, indicating the endless cycle. By dung. The journey could not be completed in one day, so for tonight, there is a place to rest. Qiu Lu quickly handled a few more branches. Qiu Lu hurriedly set up a few wooden poles, fixed them to the ground as supports, and added a layer of bamboo and palm leaves on top, turning it into a small hut. It looked simple, but it was enough to stay in for now. It is more than enough. By the time the work is done, it is already late afternoon. The stomach is growling with hunger. Living near the water, you can fish with just a small bamboo stick, a hook, and some line. Bring along a bit of patience, and dinner is taken care of. Indeed, this place's resources are abundant, not only enough to eat but also extra fish to trade for rice. Qiu Lu clearly understood the spirit of trading goods. She even took care of the landlord's dog as well. Was she there to trade or to restock? At night, she cooked dinner with fish, and after eating, she fell asleep with the little dog. Time quietly passed. Today, the sun is bright, the breeze gentle. Mountains, rivers, and lakes look like a painting, truly an ideal day to work. Even without blueprints or measuring tools, just by estimating visually, they can calculate dimensions relatively accurately, based on proportions in their mind. To process materials and set up columns, it must be said they do it very precisely. Then they mark cutting positions to make assembly the next frame easier, but the sun is scorching. Even in the forest, she made sure to take care of her skin. So, she quickly built a frame, covered with palm leaves to create a shaded spot. Then, she continued to set up the poles. Even with just a machete, digging holes was both quick and efficient. She used a few small bamboo sticks to connect them, and a wall frame was instantly completed. The remaining frames only needed to be done in the same way. Even though she was a woman, Chulu really has great skills. It looks simple. It is not hard to do. You just need to master the technique of drilling holes, then assembling. Everything is as easy as turning your hand. Building the wall frame is also quick. You just need a support point and a few bamboo poles for reinforcement, and the main frame will be sturdy and can even be attached securely. The frame on the side may look a bit flimsy, but if there is no big storm, it should be fine. If there is a storm, well, we will just have to deal with it. Finally, adding another layer on top completes the basic frame of the tent. The roof is also designed in a traditional style to enhance water drainage. As for the roof, Chulu chose to pre-assemble it on the ground first. Install according to the roof ridge. Directly using this method, aside from taking a bit more time, its safety, convenience, and speed are significantly superior compared to installing directly on the roof. Moreover, it is very sturdy, as long as there is additional reinforcement before installation. With the horizontal beams fixed, the main frame gradually took shape. In the blink of an eye, it was already the third day. The number of palm leaves that Chulu picked earlier were now being used. Starting from the base of the roof, we gradually fixed each layer of leaves onto the horizontal beams, overlapping them one by one. Before long, the roof was tightly sealed. Though it looked rough, the arrangement was both beautiful and effective at keeping out water. After that, she started working on the walls, measuring the dimensions and cutting bamboo into perfectly sized pieces. They could not be attached directly, but needed additional treatment to cover small gaps without breaking them apart. Flatten the BA block into a 2-layer sheet to make wall weaving easier. Weave alternately, front and back. Remember to follow the pattern. Then you will quickly have a sealed woven wall. Once one section is done, do not rush to install it but soak it in water. Many people do not know this step helps make the weave more flexible, durable, and easier to work with. While waiting for the bamboo wall to soak, you can take the chance to go. This time's dinner will be mountain snails as big as golden apple snails, sweet and delicious. It sounds strange, but it is true. When it comes to food descriptions, that is just how it is. Gather enough food, and when you return, the bamboo wall will have soaked just right. Take it out, let it drain, and it is ready. Taking advantage of trimming the roof into a flat style. Then start installing the walls. Cut holes in the pillars to insert bamboo into the grooves to set up the walls, then take another bamboo stick to press tight. Top and bottom tied with bamboo strings, and it is done. Other wall sections are also made. Similarly, this method is quick, flat, and aesthetically pleasing. The tent now looks like a proper house. She even added window frames. Other finishing touches will be done later. In the middle of the lake, there is no worry about wild animals disturbing us. Now it is time for a meal. Natural ingredients just need simple preparation. Forest vegetables to remove odors, paired with a rustic dipping sauce. That is enough for a feast, just wait for 10 minutes can be enjoyed. Delicious mountain snail dish the next day. Early Wednesday morning, Shaoli started handling materials. Today she plans to complete the entire hut. The first task is to settle the sleeping area with experience. Handling the cover these past few days, making a mat cover is really too easy. Setting up the bed frame inside the tent. Since the ground underneath is water, it needs to be elevated to stay dry. Lay a mat on top. Cover it, and there you have a large, comfortable bed for the new home. How could we forget a dining table and chairs? Surely we can't sit on the ground every day. Plus, you can sit and enjoy the beautiful scenery around you. Sitting inside the house and still being able to fish, this is truly a perfect fishing spot. What an amazing place to fish. Finally, I set up an additional stove. From now on, I can cook without having to go ashore anymore. The floating house on the lake is officially complete. So, what do you think? Would you want to live a life like this? Pure and graceful like this girl. Her meticulousness and skillfulness are truly admirable. If you think it is great, give her a like. This is definitely the most impressive woman I have ever seen. Using a centuries-old tree Without a single nail, she built a luxurious 3-story villa. There are even queen-style chairs, even bringing water from the Ganges River to create a filtration system, making it comfortable to use water. Convenient for bathing, the whole process can be seen as an exemplary curriculum for building in the wilderness. The character is named Xianlan, this year 28 years old, passionate about the outdoors to the point of feeling down. Go home and choose a tall ancient tree to build your project. Before starting, she drew her own design. From the drawing, you can see the massive amount of work. Saying it is little wouldn't be right, saying it is much wouldn't be wrong. The first task is to gather materials, cutting large and small branches to get suitable materials, processing the length and then placing, climbing the branches to create a support base, fixing the horizontal beams. To solve the flooring issue, of course, do not forget to reinforce the pillars below, or else it will wobble. Next, Xianlan brings the pre-treated bamboo to use and fixes each bamboo piece to the beams with rattan ropes. The work is simple but requires patience. Soon, the first floor was completed. Then she continued to climb up and worked on the third floor in the same way. This time, the floor was made of bamboo. Because compared to heavy wood, bamboo is lighter and more convenient for multi-story buildings. The bamboo tribe probably didn't expect that building for Xianlan a shelter would be so costly. She chose a traditional roof design with 2 slopes because the area in Vietnam gets a lot of rain, so this sloped roof helps rainwater flow down smoothly and also reduces the accumulation of dirt. Then Xianlan moved to a tree base, preparing to climb up even though the trunk has no holds, but she still moves swiftly like a swallow, cutting a few branches to gather leaves. Don't think they are useless, just stack them layer by layer. Then use bamboo to bind them together into sheets. 1 sheet isn't much, but make many. The most significant advantage is the material. She plans to use it to layer the roof, starting from the base. Layering it thickly and tightly will make the thatched roof sealed. It won't let wind or rain through, and most importantly, it is lightweight. It won't overload the structure. The framework is only made from a few wooden poles. Meanwhile, she also crafted a few small tools for eating and drinking. But first, she needs to seal the walls before eating. After thinking it through, Xianlan brought out the bamboo panels she had already prepared. Don't ask where she got them, because obviously, they are forest products. She carefully arranged the bamboo strips close together and used rattan ropes to securely tie them to the frame. I must say, her craftsmanship is not bad at all, even though she did not use any nails, yet the bamboo is still standing straight and smooth like it was machine-made, sturdy and aesthetically pleasing, up to the wall section. It is not difficult with her skillful hands, just need to measure the size first. Then fit it in, because it is light. She can handle it easily by herself. Once assembled, it fits perfectly. So the main structure of the house is basically complete. Only the lower floor remains, which is elevated quite high off the ground. If someone were to fall, it could be dangerous, so Xianlan dropped 2 long bamboo poles from the 2nd floor to the ground, and then used Asian-style rope tying techniques to make stairs. In no time, the steps were quickly finished, including the handrail. Each step consisted of 2 support beams and crossed bamboo, making a sturdy and beautiful ladder, enhancing safety when entering and exiting, while adding aesthetic appeal. So far, it has been perfect. The house has reached the standard for living. The next step is to make furniture and finish the details. With the experience she has, she easily adds windows and doors, then installs them in place. Getting closer to completion for living. To live comfortably, of course, you need a big bed. Xianlan uses bamboo assembled into a frame. Add more bamboo slats on top. In just a moment, it becomes a wide double bed, 2 meters long. She tried lying down right away. It seems 3 people could sleep comfortably. She also arranged a set of tables and chairs in the living room. The design looks so luxurious that even I felt like it was luxury furniture. After finishing the living space, she continued. According to the story, the most important thing is a long-term water source. Xianlan erected many pillars on the ground floor and used bamboo to create 2 large frames. She planned to make one tall to serve as a water tower and the shorter one as a bathtub. But since both need to be in contact with water, they definitely have to address the waterproofing issue. Tam found a giant termite nest. Everyone knows that termite nests contain a lot of acidic substances, so they are water resistant. Just crush it finely, add river water. Stir well, and you will have natural cement. After that, apply clay onto the bamboo frame to complete the waterproof layer. Then Xianlan used the clay, adding more columns. The pillars are even shaped into fences that look like stone, instantly elevating the house. Now we just need to wait for it to dry, and the house will look brand new. Meanwhile, she does not sit still but goes to gather more weeds to spread around the house to green up the landscape. Once they grow roots, they will even help to prevent erosion. The water system is already in place, but if you want clean water, you need to add a filtration layer. Place fine river sand and stones on the highest level of the water tower, and it becomes a filtration system. It is extremely simple. Then, direct the water into the tower, letting it flow down rapidly. After filtering, it overflows into the bathtub below, marking the completion of the house. She also picked wildflowers to both decorate and use for bathing, but I have to warn you about the next part. It is best not to watch if you can't handle it, because there is a girl lost in the deep mountains trying to survive. She had to use all her wits to build a temporary shelter, identify, and gather wild mushrooms. She made it all look so easy. Thursday Lin always loved hiking and roaming around through forests, crossing streams, and passing dangerous lakes. She kept going until she realized she was lost. For a moment, she couldn't find her way, and her shoes were soaked. Wearing them for too long could damage her feet, so she picked some sturdy vines to make a frame for the soles, and wove softer ones into the frame, making use of her weaving skills. With the surplus, she made a pair of straw sandals for ordinary people. For someone who often camps like her, this task is as simple as a game. In no time, a pair of sandals was completed. Wearing the new sandals made her steps lighter, but she thought it would be hard to escape today. Thursday Lin decided to secure a place to stay first because the forest was full of dangers. Having a shelter would make the night more bearable, much safer. Then Thursday Lin started collecting materials to build a tent. It was already noon. In this situation, the main material could only be rope. Conveniently, she carved a few more wooden branches to form a circle as a frame. Each piece of wood had to be of similar length. Then she used weaving techniques, ancestral technique to thread soft strings into the AI framework that understands the Pythagorean theorem. You will see the loop keeps spinning endlessly like the whirlpool of love, but actually, the two things are unrelated. The work seems simple, but doing it isn't hard compared to the technique. The biggest challenge is patience. When weaving to a certain height, bend the two wooden pillars at the gate into a semicircle. Fix them to make the entrance. The roof can also be bent into an arch shape, then continue weaving vines until the entire structure is covered. However, this still does not make it waterproof, so she gathered more leaves to cover the roof, increasing its ability to withstand rain, though its long-term effectiveness is not great. But for temporary shelter, it is not a problem since it is impossible to leave the forest for now. At least there is a place to sleep. Next, she had to worry about food. Luckily, when she left, she brought some supplies, enough to not worry about dinner. She gathered all the ingredients. Add the ingredients and spices to the pot, then bring it to a boil. Once it starts bubbling, you will have a delicious dish to enjoy. As for escaping, we will think about that tomorrow. Right now, we can't ignore the food in front of us. Time passes, and it is the second day. She takes a bath to refresh herself. Many scenes that people do not like, I will watch instead. The supplies we brought yesterday are gone. Today, we collect more. Lin had to take care of the food herself, so she decided to weave a basket. Of course, she used vines that she was familiar with. First, she made the base, then wove around to create the frame. Compared to building a tent, the basket was smaller in size but more difficult to make. Luckily, she managed. Lin has extensive experience, so she quickly finished weaving a sturdy basket. Honestly, just by looking at it, you can see it is beautiful. With this skill, opening a craft workshop would definitely sell out. After that, she went to find food around the forest. The resources here are abundant, with materials everywhere. To be able to eat something naturally, the prerequisite is to have sharp eyes and extensive survival knowledge. Otherwise, randomly picking wild mushrooms can easily lead to danger. Fortunately, besides her skills in construction and weaving, Thursday Lynn's survival experience is also incredibly solid. Soon, she brought back a basket full of fresh food. The mountain snails were boiled for 2.5 hours to ensure all parasites were killed, then the meat was removed and stir-fried with wild mushrooms. Although the ingredients were not many and the spices were limited, she still tried to make the meal as high quality as possible. Anyway, you can't let yourself suffer, time flies. It is already the third day in the forest. To enhance safety, today Thursday Lynn decided to build another shelter. She chose a suitable spot and gathered a bunch of vines, tying dozens of long strands at one end and securing the other end to some points around form a basic grid just like the spider web you have seen. Familiar since childhood, right? She took inspiration from how spiders spin their webs. Just start from the center and weave outward in circles. Soon enough, you will have a high platform in the air, just like a spider web. Almost like the previous hut except for a few vine loops. Connecting them isn't difficult at all. If I had to point out a weakness, it would be that going up and down is a bit inconvenient. However, considering it is quite a challenge for design skills, adding a simple bamboo ladder makes entering and exiting easier. It can't be said to be exactly like a spider web, but rather almost identical to the point where even the inner and outer characteristics are precisely recreated, with someone lying in the middle, making me briefly think of spider spirits. If this place is truly a spider's den, I wonder if anyone would dare to visit. This is truly PUBG in real life. A bunker. Underground shelter in the mainland. It looks ordinary from the outside, but inside, it is a different world with meticulously carved furniture, a fully equipped kitchen, heating, and lighting. There is even an indoor pool, completely addressing all survival needs. In the wilderness. My Trang quit her job, with a salary 30 million per month to go into the forest and build a shelter. At that rate, who knows when we will ever afford to buy a house. Before building, it is customary to clean up thoroughly. A messy environment will greatly affect the process. Then she began outlining the scope of construction on the ground. Compared to building a house in the trees, it is far more challenging. Living underground again is much more convenient, of course. The prerequisite is having a pair of hands as strong as a unicorn's, and clearly my Trang is just that kind of person. Even though the soil here looks hard, with each powerful and precise shovel stroke, she quickly digs a deep hole. Triangle wall shape, also chiseled into vertical lines. Perfect. Don't ask why they chose a triangle shape. Maybe because it brings stability after digging to a depth of about 1 meter. My Trang stops digging and starts hollowing out the side of the hall, swinging the tool in her hand. Vu Hon did not feel tired at all after digging a deep hole. She quickly moved the wall inward by another 25 centimeters, then conveniently smoothed it out to make it easier for the next phase. First, she addressed the sleeping area. Since it was difficult to set up a wooden bed in the bunker, she simply carved directly into the wall to create the solid bed frame is sturdy and more durable than wood, plus she made a pillow, though it was a bit of a hassle. Rituals must be everywhere. After that, my Trang continued to perfect the living amenities in the basement. Despite being drenched in sweat, she didn't stop working. As for the indigenous residents in the pit, she temporarily didn't interact with them. If you do not clean up quickly, by the time the dining table is done, you won't hesitate to invite them into your stomach. Once the dining table and chairs for the kitchen are finished, my Trang will make use of the small space between the kitchen and the bed to place the stove, because the limited space means every inch of land must be carefully calculated to save space while ensuring comfort. When in the kitchen, the stove completes the basic survival elements of the shelter. Everything is sufficient, but the entrance is still a problem, so she chisels 2 holes in the wall of the cellar and then carves them into a corridor. The size and curvature are just right, so it is almost impossible for any unsafe situation to occur, just like the underground excavator. In just a moment, she managed to open the door leading out of the shelter 2 meters away, then climbed up above the stove, the dugout oven, Added a chimney without any measurements, just dug straight through. Quickly reaching directly above the stove with precision like no other. Just need to smooth the inner wall to avoid debris falling, and the smoke will clear. Wind and cooking issues are completely resolved. Work all day long, her body covered in mud and sweat. Made my Trang, a cleanliness-loving girl, unbearable. So she dug another hole in the middle of the tunnel, preparing to turn it into a private bathtub for myself, even in the wild. You still have to be a sophisticated girl. And the most important thing about this natural bathtub is its waterproofing ability. With this type of soil, if you do not treat it properly, bathing would be pointless. My Trang chose termite nests as the material, even though it is said to be stealing homes during the day, but with my looks, it is nothing much. The termites probably never imagined that all their hard work would ultimately become someone else's dowry. She crushed them into a pit, added a bit of water, the source of life, mixed it well, and created a super durable natural cement. She sealed the inside of the tank with it, waited for it to dry completely, and then the waterproof coating ensures the old frog stays on top. It is absolutely perfect for the mortar layer. Any leftover won't go to waste but can be applied to more areas inside the house to increase comfort, then add an extra layer of green grass around the edge of the tub to prevent slipping after bathing and to add a touch of green to the yellow ground. Make it visually appealing so others won't notice your creation. The shelter roof must also be fully covered thanks to precise digging. Miss, you just need to arrange the logs as thick as an arm to cover the opening of the hole, and it will be done without worrying about collapse. Then add more branches to create multiple layers. Cover the soil tightly. Although there is no waterproof material, thanks to the thick layers of branches and soil on top, the water resistance is still very reliable in the end. Together, remove another layer. Dry leaves cover the outside, if anyone passes by now. It is hard to imagine there is a whole world underneath. So my Trang happily moves into her new home first. Prepares bath water. Lights a fire. Roasts a few sweet potatoes for a meal. The next evening, I got into the tub fully clothed and took a bath to wash away my fatigue, while also doing laundry at the same time. It was really a case of killing two birds with one stone. What do you think? If you find it interesting, please subscribe to the channel for more exciting videos coming soon. See you again.